The 2025 MLS season is here, and I don't care much to watch Messi play with his friends these days, and I also don't find most MLS storylines interesting at all. That's just my opinion, so don't really get sensitive about it. So this year, I will mainly be focusing on keeping track of promising US men's national team prospects before they eventually and inevitably head to Europe. You can do as you wish, but that will be my approach. So today I'm going to be talking about 5 American prospects that I will be tracking this season in Major League Soccer. Hello. If you're new here, I'm Filippo and welcome to Tactical Manager TV. And today we have an episode that we do every single season, which is essentially going through promising American players in MLS that you should keep track of, or that I will be keeping track of. And if I'm keeping track of, you should do the same. I'm not going to be mentioning players like Diego Luna and Jack McGlynn. I'm not really looking forward to their MLS season, and I think heading to Europe or heading to a better league is past due. So I'm not going to be mentioning them in this video. I still think they're talented players, but I just won't be mentioning them. Most of the guys that I'm going to be talking about are U20s, with the exception of one, and I'm going to explain to you during the video why I chose that specific player. Also, keep in mind that I'm not ranking these 5 players. The order that I mentioned them is 100% irrelevant. Now, you tell me in the comment section down below which US men's national team prospects are you looking forward to this season in MLS. And of course, right now, I'm going to beg you to drop a like in this video, because that's the thing that you have to do if you are a YouTube host. You have to beg for likes. I know it's humiliating, but it's part of the job. I have to do it. And also, I've done it so much at this point that I completely lost all shame. So right now, drop a like. Let's try to hit 1,000 likes in this video. With that said, let's play the intro and let's talk about player number 1. Okay, so the first player that I want to talk about is the New York Red Bulls forward, Julian Hall. And at the time of this recording, Julian Hall is 16 years old, but he turned 17 in March of 2025, which means he'll essentially be 17 years old for the entire MLS season. He's still at an age where his position can change as his career progresses and he develops, but he's mainly right now a center forward that can also play on the wing. Time will tell which one becomes his primary position, but as of now, it seems like the coaches prefer to play him as a center forward. In 2024, he got 150 minutes in the MLS regular season, which is quite low. But again, the kid was only 16. He made the bench 34 times out of the 37 games that he was available. And also in those 150 minutes, he managed to score 2 goals and get an assist. Also, his goals were both kind of clutch. They were super late in the game to get New York Red Bulls a draw against Montreal and a draw against Kansas City. So it's not like he came into games that were like 5-0, either winning or losing for New York. He came into games that they needed a goal, and he's a forward, and he scored. He delivered. Now I'll say this, I'm not really expecting a breakout season because it's also very unlikely that he will start for the New York Red Bulls, but he is very talented, and if you are a US men's national team fan, you should most certainly keep track of him. What I want to see from Julian Hall this year is to get anywhere from 700 to 1,200 MLS regular season minutes, along with a few goal contributions. Not at the same rates that he did last year. He's not going to score a goal every 75 minutes. But again, get a few goal contributions here and there. We have to see progress on his minutes and performances when he's out there. He did play 11 minutes off the bench during their season opener, so I'll say this. The odds of him hitting those minutes that I just mentioned are pretty high, especially if he improves and develops as the season goes on. And I'm very interested to see if they're going to play him more as a center forward or as a winger. As far as I know, he also has a Polish passport, but there's no indication that he would want to represent them over the United States. He has only played for the US youth teams so far. Julian is a very promising player, and I'm looking forward to watching him this season. Player number 2 is Peyton Miller, the left back from the New England Revolution. And Peyton Miller, as I said, is 17 years old and he plays for New England in Major League Soccer. He's currently injured, so he's going to miss the first few games of the season in MLS. Now, I'm actually not very high on him, but since we have no depth and a successor to Anthony Robinson on the left back position, I'll be keeping track of any potential left back that we have, and he's definitely a candidate. There's something there. He is talented. Now, last season, he was injured early on, and he didn't really play till July of 2024. But then after that, Out of the last 13 games, he started 7 of them and came off the bench on multiple games for a total of 684 MLS minutes, and he still got 2 assists. He did also get some minutes here and there in the silly tournament called the Leagues Cup. Now, here's another reason why I will be keeping track of him. He could actually be a starter for the New England Revolution at age 17 this season. I'm not joking, which means we could be looking at a lot of minutes and potentially a breakout season at age 17, which would be quite impressive, even though we've seen a few left backs in the past do that and they haven't really panned out yet. Like George Bello, I believe he was like 18. Caleb Wiley was 17 when he was doing very well for Atlanta. Now listen, the reason I'm not so high on Peyton Miller is because he's very athletically gifted rather than just having some raw soccer talent. But we'll see, because, A-Rob also is more athletically gifted than, soccer raw talent. And look at how he turned out. He's a fantastic Premier League left back. But Peyton Miller is definitely a player to watch this season, regardless of my opinion. Definitely keep track of him. And the fact that I said I'm not high on him, it doesn't mean that I don't believe he has potential to be a U.S. men's national team left back in the future. I think he does. It's just that I have a different way of seeing the game, and I look more for technical ability in tight spaces, vision, soccer IQ, and I'm not so high on that when it comes to Peyton Miller. But things can change. He's just 17. Now, before we continue, a quick word from the sponsor of this video, and also, an app or a game that you can actually buy the cards of these prospects, hoping that it pays dividends in the future. And their name is SoRare, and they're the sponsor of this video. We'll be back in 60 seconds. Don't go anywhere. Do you collect sports cards? Do you play fantasy sports? Yes, no, maybe? If you said yes to any of that, I got something for you. And if you said no, you might still want to stick around. Tactical Manager TV is partnering up with SoRare with a special offer. The link will be in the description. In SoRare, you can collect your own virtual cards of your favorite players. And then you may be asking, why would I want to collect virtual cards? Well, you can line them up on 5-a-side games every single week. And if your players perform in real life, you can win actual money, signed jerseys, game tickets, or even more cards to improve your own club. And you can also get unique experiences like a friend of the channel, Fiago, that got to meet Zinedine Zidane. You know what's also cool? They also have the NBA and Major League Baseball. I'm mainly gonna just stick to soccer, but you do you. What I really like about SoRare before we even partnered with them is that they're unlike other fantasy games where you have to pay per play. In SoRare, you pay to get the players you want permanently as cards, and then you can play multiple times using those same cards, at least until the player retires, win rewards if your players perform in real life. You can also buy undervalued player cards for cheap, then hold, use them in the future when they improve or develop, and then you can even sell that card when its value goes up for better ones. Or just keep the money yourself. And if you use the link in the description of this video, you will get $50 in credit after buying your first 5 cards through auctions or instant buy at any prices. Play with responsibility. All right, enjoy. All right, we are back, and hopefully you didn't leave. And I mean, if you're watching me talk right now, that means you didn't leave. Otherwise, you wouldn't be watching this, right? You wouldn't be hearing me talk right now. Player number 3 is Jalen Neal from Montreal. So Jalen Neal is actually the oldest player I will mention in this video. The 21-year-old center back that plays for Montreal, or just got a move from Montreal as he left the LA Galaxy. And here's why I am mentioning him. So last season, he was a starter for the LA Galaxy for most of the season. And then he lost his starting spot towards the end and barely played during the playoffs, where the Galaxy would go on to win MLS Cup. And Jalen Neal is a very talented center back, very good on the ball, very technical. He has the potential to be a very good ball playing defender, something that US soccer very much lacks. However, I will say this too. He did struggle many times last season in isolation, on one-on-one situations, 1v1 situations, and he can still be very error prone, which is fine. I mean, he's still a very young center back. I'm gonna say this, center backs take much longer to mature than forwards, for example, and Jalen is still 21. So what I'm hoping for this season is for a breakout year, where he truly stands out for Montreal. He has the talent to do so, and I hope it happens. I mean, you'll probably remember him in the 2023 Gold Cup playing for the US men's national team. He looked pretty good. Not perfect and obviously inconsistent, but he looked pretty good. And that was 2 years ago. Now, injuries have also been an issue with him, and he currently is injured and out till April with a knee injury. But again, I still believe in his talent. And listen, the time is ticking. He's 21. I believe he needs to have a breakout season in 2025 or 2026 and then head to Europe as a 22-year-old or 23-year-old center back. If that doesn't happen, the odds of him becoming an MLS lifer will be big. They'll be huge. So he needs a breakout season as soon as possible. Hopefully he comes back from the knee injury stronger than ever and balls out for Montreal this season and then gets a move to Europe by the end of 2026. But listen, in terms of talent, it's there with Jalen Neal. He just has to show us. And it's kind of crazy because due to maybe the injuries, it seems like he hasn't progressed much since the 2023 season, right? Which is 2 years ago. So let's see how it plays out now with Montreal. He played most of the games for the Galaxy last season. The Galaxy does have a good team, right? They did win MLS Cup. We'll see what happens. Player number 4 is Cavan Sullivan from the Philadelphia Union, a player that you keep hearing about a lot. And obviously, since he's in their roster and he's making the bench for them, we're going to keep track of him. But let's talk about him because I have some, I would say, unpopular opinions about Cavan Sullivan. So Cavan is an interesting one. From what I've seen, he's clearly not ready to perform in MLS. But Philly and Major League Soccer have hyped him up so much that they have to keep him in the roster or making the bench, even if that means he gets like no minutes or gets like 2 or 3 minutes here and there. He is 15. He should be playing in MLS Next Pro and training with the first team. But what do I know? Now I'll say this, I think Cavan Sullivan is an incredible prospect. I agree with that, but I don't like the hype that people are placing on him because then if he doesn't live up to it, they're just going to blame him and not everything MLS did to market him and make money and get attention off this kid. The league seems to be using him for attention, and if he doesn't become the superb player that he's expected to be, they're just going to say that he flopped or whatever excuse they can come up with, right? We know that's going to happen. Now, that said, the reason I'm tracking him is I want to see how he looks when he gets minutes, which will be rare, but when he does, I want to watch that. What position will they play him? Personally, from what I've seen, he seems more like an 8, but they usually play him as a 10 or as a winger. Does he look out of place when he plays in MLS? Is there going to be any growth throughout the season? I'm actually very interested in following his season. But as I said before, the kid is 15 and he doesn't turn 16 till September. If he can just get minutes here and there and not look out of his depth, I would call it a successful season. He's a talented player, but he ain't Lamine Yamal like talent. So I'm going to say this, if he can get 200 to 300 MLS regular season minutes, I would say it was a success, as long as he doesn't look out of his depth. I also think Philly will play in the US Open Cup this season, and it's very likely that they'll play the subs. So hopefully when they play that, Cavan Sullivan starts and gets plenty of minutes. If that happens, he gets Open Cup minutes and a few minutes here and there in MLS. For a 15-year-old, I would say that is a major success. So what I want to say is this, be patient everyone. I'm going to say it again, he is 15. Be patient. He is also the youngest player out of all the players I'm mentioning in this video. Alright, so player number 5, and if you made it this far in the video, I'm gonna beg you for a like once again because I have lost all self-respect and shame. I don't care, so I'm gonna ask for it once again. Player number 5 is Maxi Carrizo from New York City FC. So Maxi is a 17-year-old midfielder from New York City FC, or he's turning 17 at the time of this recording, essentially. He's currently eligible to play for the United States and Argentina. But I will say this, I was given the information that he also has an Italian passport, which can facilitate a move to Europe, and it means that he's also eligible to play for Italy. However, so far in his career, he has only played for the US youth teams and Argentina youth teams. But most recently, he was with the United States U17s and he led them to qualify to the U17 World Cup. I believe he was also the captain of that team, playing as a central attacking midfielder. He had 5 goals and 2 assists in 2 games to help the United States qualify. And sure, it was crap CONCACAF competition, but you have to beat the crap out of them. And beat the crap out of them, he did. Now, he has yet to get a single minute with New York City FC at the time of this recording, but this season he is expected to do so. He made the bench for their first season opener, or not the first season opener, for their season opener of the 2025 season, and he did miss a good chunk of preseason because he was with the US men's national team's U17s. Now, Santiago Rodriguez, their attacking midfielder, is expected to leave soon. At the time of this recording, he hasn't yet, but he's expected to go to Botafogo in Brazil. Maxi Morales is another attacking mid option that they have, but he's like 200 years old at this point. And understand that Maxi Carrizo is a bit different. I've been talking about this for quite some time. He's different from the standard American soccer player profile, right? He's not that super athletic player that can just beat you on one-on-ones and just be super fast and one-dimensional. He's actually very fluid, smooth on the ball, technical, with vision and ability in tight spaces, more like a South American player. It's very different from the standard American player. So I can see how the lack of athleticism at his age, which honestly he is very athletic, but he's not like a Keikao, I can see how that lack of size held him back in terms of minutes. But he overcomes that with technical ability, which honestly at this age, it's what coaches should be looking for anyway. I do, however, expect him to get some minutes this season, hopefully a lot. I don't really expect a breakout season because he's just 17, that would shock me, but I'm hoping he gets anywhere from 500 to 1,000 minutes in MLS this year. And if New York City is playing in the US Open Cup, which I don't know if they are right now, I would hope they would give him minutes there as well. And I want to add this, he's also the type of player that may take some time to develop as he grows and gets stronger, but the technical ability is there, the soccer IQ, the vision, the talent, which is honestly what scouts should look for in young players. Because athletic ability, over time, it often evens out when they get older. Now it's up to New York City FC to give him enough minutes to push his development forward this season. I think he will play, as I said multiple times, and when he does, you most certainly want to be watching him. Alright everyone, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to drop a like before you go. And of course, there are many more American prospects in MLS to follow this season. Many more than 5. There's probably at least 20 to 25 that are worth at least keeping an eye on. Alright, so let me know in the comment section down below. Which American prospects in MLS in 2025 will you be tracking, and tell us why. I want to thank you all very much for watching and have a great day.